A mother working to prevent even more tragedy, how she's sharing her message in West Michigan. And teaching you skills that could save your favorite four-legged friend. Why it's important to know CPR for your pet. Plus, celebrating pioneers in the African American community. How Western Michigan University is honoring Black History Month.
Live, local, breaking news. You're watching News Channel 3, live at 11.
A mother who lost her daughter in a crash 2 years ago is working to make sure other families don't have to go through similar pain. Patrice Hillsman's 16-year-old daughter, Alexis, was one of 5 teens killed in a crash in September of 2017. They were heading home from a party in Kalamazoo. Officers say the driver lost control of the car, crashing it into a tree. Now, Hillsman is sharing her story. She says teens are growing up in a different era and face different challenges from their parents. She wants people to know decisions teens make can have life-changing effects.
Her decision to get into that car, her choice to go to the party or whatever it is that she was doing that night, there was a lot of behind-the-scene trauma.
She says it's important for teens to learn from their mistakes. And if you notice your teen acting out, she says to find out why. Well, every year, about 40,000 pets die in house fires. That's according to Protect America. In West Michigan, pets have died in 4 different fires in just the past month. Now, 2 Kalamazoo women are hoping to teach skills in an effort to protect your pets. Laura Mellinger is a licensed veterinary technician. She knows the feeling of losing pets to a house fire.
It's quite a shock when you hear that your home is on fire. Your first instinct is what's in the home, and the first thing I thought about was my dog and my cat. And you just pray that they got out, but they didn't.
Mellinger says she kept thinking, if she had been there, what could she have done differently?
Remove them from the immediate danger, so away from the smoke, away from the fire. If you can, again, safely do that, to get them to an area where there is fresh oxygen and immediate danger.
Fire Chief Brian Sturdivant says pets are a high priority for the Battle Creek Fire Department.
Hopefully they've already escaped, and if not, part of our search and rescue efforts is to identify if there are pets that can be found and located, just as we would with any of our civilian community members.
Sturdivant says the fire department and EMS has the ability to resuscitate pets should they suffer from smoke inhalation or any other fire-related injury.
Smoke inhalation, the actual smoke can cause irritation to the lungs and the bronchia inside the lungs. And we can even get thermal burns from the fire, so it actually can burn the entire system. The respiratory system can be affected, not only with the agents of the smoke, but the heat and fire as well.
Mellinger and Jean Stevens are on a mission to teach pet CPR and first aid skills to others to help too.
We talk about assessing the situation, the animal, are they unconscious? Are they breathing? And from there you can determine whether you need to give full-blown CPR or you can do rescue breathing.
They say it's important to undergo training because the necessary responses cater to the cause, pet type, breed, size, and age.
There is a need for teaching and education for pet owners and grooming facilities, boarding training facilities, even the veterinary professions, to help bridge that gap between the emergency and then the veterinary visits.
Mellinger says these trainings are to help keep pets alive in order to get them to a vet in time for proper care. They also suggest microchipping pets in case they escape the fire and run away, as well as putting a visible sign up notifying first responders there are pets inside should a fire occur when you're not home. Well, we are now seeing the effects of erosion in one lakeshore community. People say Lincoln Township Beach was the only one left in the area. But now what was once a destination for residents in Berrien County is now a bluff littered with debris and rocks. Now officials have no choice but to close down the beach.
That's scary, but until it goes down, I mean, we can't do anything because Mother Nature's going to take over first. So we say it's supposed to be high again this year, so I would say that we might be without a beach for an entire year and possibly 2.
Wow, officials say they'll keep an eye on the beach, and if the weather allows, they'll start restoring it by replacing sand. Well, here's a live look now over downtown Kalamazoo through our Peregrine Tower camera. A pretty night out there. If you can catch the moon, make sure you can get a good look at it. Meteorologist Will Haney joins us now from Severe Weather Center 3. Will, the trend of snow continues throughout the weekend?
Yeah, Callie and I just stepped out a few minutes ago. We were still seeing some very light snowflakes coming down in Kalamazoo, but as you mentioned, it is the full moon. It's the snow moon in February. But unfortunately, I do think it's going to become harder to see as we get into the overnight. We're seeing cloudy skies. Let's check out the view from 4 different locations. Temperatures in the middle to upper 20s. The icon in Holland showing a little bit of some light snow, and you can see some flurries maybe dashing around the camera lens there. Kalamazoo, at least at the airport, though, not reporting snow. So that just gives you an idea of just how spotty some of these snow showers actually are. They're essentially flurries, maybe a little bit steadier of some snowflakes, though, up towards Muskegon County. This is just kind of the appetizer to the main dish that's on the way tomorrow in the form of more widespread snow. Also want to mention that we have a reduction in visibility in Battle Creek and Charlotte. That is actually being reported as some freezing fog at some of our instrumentation out east. So if you're in those locations and you're encountering any fog, just be aware that could freeze to some elevated surfaces, possibly even some lesser treated roads. And our temperatures have really dropped dramatically in a few locations. We're in the lower 20s in Battle Creek, 29 in Kalamazoo. Your Fastcast features temperatures tomorrow topping off in the middle 30s. Snow likely, especially during the later afternoon and evening. We'll time it out, the arrival of the snow, and also tell you how much you can expect to accumulate in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Will. Well, people across West Michigan had a chance to go out and enjoy the snow. Now we want to see how you spent these snowy days. Here's a look at some of the snow pictures you've already sent in. You can chime in by heading to our website, wwmt.com. You can just click on the Chime In tab at the top of the page, or you can check out our free News Channel 3 mobile app. And be sure to download our Severe Weather Center 3 app. It'll give you hourly forecast updates and allow you to track live Doppler radar. The app is free to download on your mobile device. Tonight, one Christian denomination in Michigan is celebrating a new bishop that's breaking several barriers. Today, the Episcopal Diocese of Michigan ordained Reverend Bonnie Perry as bishop. The ceremony took place in Dearborn. Perry is the first woman and openly lesbian bishop in the Michigan Diocese. The new bishop says it's important to welcome anyone that's on the margin. Her ordination comes as some Christian denominations debate the issue of same-sex marriage and LGBT clergy. Well, MC Shaw Rock is known as the hip-hop culture's first female MC. Today, she was at Western Michigan University's Walker Institute hip-hop exhibit. There, she talked about how her role in hip-hop inspired others. She told News Channel 3's Tavarius Haywood that she wants to keep hip-hop alive. And Tavarius, tell us how she hopes to do that.
Well, Kelly, MC Shaw Rock is a legend in the hip-hop industry who started rapping back in the late 70s. She retired from law enforcement last year and has been on a mission across the country to make sure all things hip-hop has its place in history.
Yes, yes, y'all. Yes, yes, y'all.
MC Shaw Rock has taken her rhymes all over the country to tell the story of how she got started in hip-hop. She says back in the 70s, it wasn't hard getting into a male-dominated industry because she was just as good as the men of that time. She says her legwork in hip-hop has paved the way for so many other artists in hip-hop.
When you talk about MC Light, she'll say when I was 11 years old coming up to Harlem, I used to hear Shaw Rock on cassette tapes, and she influenced me to do what I do today. I am the one that set it off for every female that you hear today.
Talanda Ali says it's good to see living history that looks exactly like her.
At a predominantly white institute, it does feel good to not only experience a different aspect of Black history, but to physically be able to see it and touch it and like stand next to it and have it still be relevant. It definitely is a bit of a euphoric feeling.
One local hip-hop artist says hip-hop is a way for Black people to express themselves.
It's no different from the slave chants on the plantation, the drum line, the bass lines from Africa. That's what drives hip-hop. And let me explain this too. There's a difference between hip-hop and rap. You know, rap is what you do. Hip-hop is what you live.
Shaw Rock has this message for inspiring female hip-hop artists who are trying to get to the next level.
And when somebody tell you no, you don't backdoor them, but you go around them and you show them that you're not going to stop me from doing what I want to do.
There are several more events in the coming weeks to showcase Black history in hip-hop at WMU. Tavarius Haywood, News Channel 3.
All right, thanks, Tavares. Well, the deadly coronavirus is continuing to spread across the world. Now we're learning what's happening to Americans who evacuated Wuhan, China, and landed safely in the U.S. Plus, presidential hopefuls now moving on to the Granite State. How the candidates are spending the days leading up to the New Hampshire primary.
Download the WWMT.
The coronavirus is continuing to spread across the world. Here's a map showing where each case of the virus is. There are now more than 31,000 infections worldwide, and as you can see, mainland China is dealing with the worst of it. There are now 720 people dead, including an American. Here in the United States, about 300 American evacuees arrived at military bases across the country. All of them came from Wuhan, the epicenter of the outbreak. Officials with the CDC say 5 evacuees showed symptoms and were taken to the hospital. All passengers on those planes are starting a 14-day quarantine.
I think my biggest concern is that these individuals are about to enter a very tough 14-day quarantine period. They don't know what's coming. They don't have the items that they're comfortable with. And it's our job to make sure that they're not only safe, but they're comfortable.
The CDC says the immediate risk of the coronavirus to the American public remains low. Well, there's still no official winner of the Iowa caucuses just yet, but that's not stopping campaigns from moving on to New England. Why New Hampshire's a vital state for the presidential hopefuls.
What do kids want?
Well, we are just days away from the first in the nation primary. Democratic presidential candidates are crisscrossing New Hampshire ahead of Tuesday's primary. After inconsistencies and delayed results from the Iowa caucuses, Bernie Sanders and Pete Buttigieg were in a virtual dead heat. Skylar Henry is following the action in New Hampshire.
After a day on the campaign trail, candidates came together for the New Hampshire Democratic Party's annual dinner. Earlier Saturday, former Vice President Joe Biden told voters his experience matters.
But I do not believe we're a party at risk if they nominate me.
This Biden supporter says the field is still too wide.
Are the other candidates good? Yes. Yes, some of them are. But there's too many of them, and that's the problem.
Deb Peck, who backs Elizabeth Warren, says many voters are still on the fence.
It's been the most undecided campaign that I've ever seen. It speaks to how much people want to make the right decision.
Pete Buttigieg urged voters to embrace change.
I do not believe we can take the risk of falling back on the familiar.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders again challenged Buttigieg over receiving donations from billionaires.
When billionaires contribute to a candidate, they are doing it for a reason. They're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
Democratic voters here say they're looking for a candidate strong enough to go up against President Trump.
There's still a lot of folks out there who are really starting to get worried. Worried that this fight against Donald Trump might not be winnable. I've been winning unwinnable fights pretty much all my life.
President Trump will hold a rally of his own here Monday. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
The primary season is gearing up. Here's a map of upcoming elections. The states in yellow are coming up in February. That includes New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina. 25 states, including Michigan, have their primaries in March. While all eyes are on New Hampshire right now, some candidates are focusing on Michigan. Michael Bloomberg's campaign opened up a brand new campaign office in Flint today. The presidential candidate is focusing on Super Tuesday states instead of early states like Iowa or New Hampshire. The offices will target voters in Genesee, Shiawassee, and Livingston counties.
A lot of times, Flint residents, we kind of feel like we've been skipped over, especially during big presidential campaigns. So we opened an office right downtown so that residents can know we're here.
The Michigan primaries are a month away, and the office says their main goal is increasing the voter turnout. The road to 2020 runs through Michigan. Head to our News Channel 3 mobile app or WWMT.com to check out our live blog, which details every candidate's stops through our state. To find it, just click on Michigan Politics under the News tab.
It was an interesting day in the weather department. It would be sunny, then it would cloud over, and a burst of snow would work its way on through. And right now, we're still even seeing a few snow showers out there. It's hard to make out whether or not any flakes are falling right now in South Haven at South Beach, but waves are picking up a little bit. Our temperatures are in the lower 20s in Grand Rapids, 19 right now in Ionia. Farther south, Kalamazoo, you're at 29, and it's 24 right now in Battle Creek, where again, we've had some reports of freezing fog. So just keep that in mind if you're in parts of Calhoun or even Eaton counties right now. Here's live Doppler, the steadiest snow shower showers that we're seeing on radar at this hour up towards Port Sheldon and Allendale. And as we look up towards Muskegon, you might see a little bit of an uptick in snow activity here in the next hour or so. But most of this is going to, I think, taper off as we get into early tomorrow morning. We'll wake up with some peaks of sun and possibly even some patchy fog, just given that our temperatures are falling pretty quickly. By early in the day tomorrow, though, by I think about 11 a.m. to noon, we're going to cloud over. Snow will become apparent, I think, for locations like Muskegon, Fremont, and up towards Grand Rapids as early as about noon. The more widespread snow, though, arrives throughout the later afternoon hours, 2, 3, 4 o'clock. That's where we're really seeing the steadiest and heaviest snow. That will continue even through about 6 p.m. tomorrow evening before, your eyes aren't deceiving you there, some green tries to lift in. That's the model indicating the potential for some possible rain, snow mix, or even drizzle that I think will just add on to the overall slush factor on some of our roads. And again, this could be a pretty intense snow for a few hours during the later afternoon and evening. Our temperatures by early Monday as well are going to drop back below freezing. And so for that reason, we got to watch for some refreezing on some of the back roads that are less treated. Your forecast snowfall, though, 1 to 2 farther south. I think our southernmost counties likely closer to that 1-inch mark. Now, farther north, between about I-94 and I-96, it's looking like a 2 to 3 inch snowfall. And farther north from there, even 3 to 5 inches. The general rule, the farther north you go, the higher your total, and that is true for those thresholds I gave you as well. Future snowfall, the next 36 hours, you can see that heavier snow tracking parts of Iowa, northern Iowa, southern Minnesota. They could see as much as about 10 to 12 inches in a few locations from some of the latest forecasts I was looking at. That's where the winter storm warnings are in effect. We have a winter weather advisory in play for Allegan, Berry, and Eaton counties farther north. Those winter weather advisories actually start tomorrow at noon. They continue through midnight tomorrow night for accumulations between about 3 to 5 inches. Again, right on par with what we were thinking. That's what the National Weather Service is calling for. Slippery road conditions, again, likely right during that late afternoon, early evening time frame. I'm expecting roads to become pretty snow covered and pretty slick as well. So if you can plan any errands or travel around that, it's pretty advised. The winter weather advisory through 12 a.m. But again, just mentioning that some of our main roads, yeah, they'll be clear, I think, by Monday morning, but the back roads could still be a little bit touchy. It's 24 right now in Battle Creek. Let's check out our live eye camera. Again, we had that report of fog, and right now over the downtown area, you can almost see what appears to be some very low-lying cloud cover trying to work its way through. Sometimes it's hard to tell if that's steam coming off of the buildings or not, but it wouldn't shock me if outside of the downtown area, in some of the more rural areas, we were seeing some of that fog. Overnight tonight, we'll drop to about 22 degrees. For a high tomorrow, we again make it into those middle 30s. That happens during the later afternoon and evening. For Monday, Tuesday, our weather fortunately quiets down a little bit. Temperatures not too bad, right on par with where they should be this time of year, with highs in the middle 30s. And then Wednesday into Thursday, another quick batch of snow is possible as the system tracks through to our south. So we'll be watching that too.
All right, so definitely travel time tomorrow. Just be really careful. Wear your seatbelt.
Yes.
Drive slow.
Morning's good. Early afternoon for the first few hours are good, but then after that, that's where it gets a little bit treacherous.
All right, thanks, Will.
Yeah.
Well, the Bronco hockey team back at home for RPI. Just how good of a home ice advantage has Lawson Arena provided, and could it continue?